Hey, how's it going, guys? So we're back with another Star Wars reaction video of a new channel. Welcome. Now, this one we're gonna be diving into a new Sith Lord. This one is called The Full Story of Darth Andeddu, the God King of. Crap! It cut off there. The God King of Star Wars. Now, I never heard of him before or who he is, but just looking at the thumbnail, he looks terrifying. So I'm really excited to see who he is, but they keep on referring him as the Sith God King. And there's another video about him, but I just didn't know what the order was to watch him. So I'm just going to be watching this one first, and then we're going to be watching another one, which is called the Sith God King, which is going to be talking about him again. But I don't know if the facts are going to be the same, or maybe there's something additional that Stupendous Wave. Oh, by the way, shout out and credit goes to Stupendous Wave. He's the one who is providing this video. And we'll just see what happens from there. So without anything else, let's check out a new Sith Lord. Yep, the Stupendous Wave.
Death is a power only one has achieved. In that moment, Sidious may have been referring to Plagueis. However, only one Sith Lord had truly discovered the power of immortality. This technique is something that Sidious actually used himself in both canon and legends, this power being essence transfer, invented by the one and only Darth Andeddu, the immortal God King.
Oh, so he's the one that invented it.
Us today, curious scholars of the galaxy, as we delve into the holocron of one of the most powerful Sith in Star Wars history, Darth Andeddu, and discuss his story as well as his various powers and abilities within the Force. Darth Andeddu was an interesting case. Nearly all of the records of the Dark Lord were wiped from the galactic record by the Jedi, as they feared the implications of this power and sought to discourage any such emulation of his horrible deeds, as they saw his power as a violation of the living Force itself, a disgrace to the Force. Only whispers of his existence floated around the galaxy by the time of the Darth Bane era. Bane, who was looking for a way to extend
the
his
rule
life,
of two,
found a mention of Darth Andeddu in his studies. Inspired, he then promptly spent a small fortune to uncover anything else about the ancient Sith Lord. Eventually, his endeavors would be fruitful, as a treasure hunter he had hired found a small scroll about the God King that had survived the mass purge of information from the Jedi. Despite all of their efforts, the Jedi had failed to completely wipe Andeddu from the history books. Darth Bane took the scroll, which led him to the deep core world of Prakith to retrieve the ancient Sith Lord's holocron, which was rumored to still be intact. Revered as the pioneer of the Darth title, Andeddu was a Dark Lord of the Sith that reigned sometime during the 100-Year Darkness. He had trained under the Dark Lords such as Karness Mur, who was one of the first Dark Jedi that had split during the Second Great Schism. With the Sith Lord, the first Sith Lord in fact, Ajunta Pall, Darth Andeddu ruled over the Sith homeworld of Korriban and led a legion of Sith underlings who he accurately believed to be his true enemies. Because of this, Andeddu kept his knowledge
he kind of looks like
and hoarded his power for himself,
a dead Egyptian pharaoh, in my opinion. Like the
as true Sith fashion,
design and everything.
Conspired against him and eventually overthrew the Dark Lord. However, this
look at that crown.
Wasn't so easily defeated, as he faked his own death and built a false tomb upon Korriban, fleeing his homeworld for the world of Prakith. Once on Prakith, he began his own dark side cult, which called themselves the Malevolence. Using his dark sorcery, he founded the ability of essence transfer, an ability that would later be utilized to great success by the Dark Lord Sidious. Andeddu's master, Karness Mur,
oh yeah, because he did it in episode 9.
Of Sith healing. As stated by Darth Bane, healing isn't one of the dark side's strongest suits. The dark side serves to destroy, not to construct and build. In order to heal, one has to use the love and compassionate powers of the light side. The dark side can only be harnessed into the negative and the destructive. So it was quite a feat to have come across any sort of method of Sith healing. Considering that Sith usually use their pain as power, Andeddu wanted to take Karness Mur's teachings further and go somewhere darker, cheating death entirely. As we stated earlier, this was done with the strange and taboo practice of essence transfer, which was a ritual where the caster would have their own spirit leave their body and go into another. In legends, Sidious did this in a few clone bodies, and Andeddu used this to stay alive for thousands of years successfully. These terrible powers and his immortality caused him to be known and revered as the immortal God King by his cult. Soon, the hyperspace.
Every time I hear God King, I keep on thinking Xerxes from 300.
Total isolation from the rest of the galaxy. As a quick side note for those of you unfamiliar with the mechanics of hyperspace, let me get you up to speed. It is a common misconception that hyperspace is just going really fast. This mistake is most likely to be blamed on the colloquial term light speed. Hyperspace, though, is not in fact ships traveling at light speed. In Star Wars, there are a wormhole-like tunnels that occupy space. These tunnels are sort of in their own dimension, which is why ships traveling in them don't just crash into other planets or anything else in the way. These more well-traveled tunnels are called hyperspace lanes. The entire galaxy is connected like veins by hyperspace lanes, like a space version of an
I actually had to learn that too.
However, there are less traveled
but that was a while
lanes,
ago.
like the ones that go into the deep core that are erratic, opening and closing at random. This is the reason why voyages into the deep core are incredibly dangerous in Star Wars mythos. Anyway, the hyperspace lane closed to Prakith, which effectively sealed it off from the rest of the galaxy. However, Andeddu had become paranoid and sealed himself away in his fortress with his knowledge as well as his holocron. There, he stayed until his final physical demise, though his spirit would live on. His cult continued to worship their god king for many generations past his death, as Andeddu waited to be resurrected to rule over them once more. His spirit lived on well past the Clone Wars, and even into the age of Luke Skywalker. His holocron, meanwhile, had bounced around the galaxy after it was stolen from Bane, eventually landing into the hands of Count Dooku during the Clone Wars era. Far into the future, Darth Krayt's body was failing after a battle with the usual
Count Dooku had it?
So he dispatched his most trusted advisor, Darth Warlock, to Prakith to find out more information on Andeddu's power. The legend of Andeddu carrying from generation to Sith, with every single Sith Lord revering his power, specifically though, essence transfer. This was because the gatekeeper of Andeddu's holocron refused to allow Krayt into his knowledge, calling him a Sith pretender. Darth Warlock went to the fortress of Prakith, where he entered battle with Andeddu's spirit. Andeddu fought him with illusory and with powerful force lightning. However, it was Darth Warlock that would be victorious, as he won the mind battle by using Andeddu's greatest weakness, his paranoia. Warlock convinced the dead Dark Lord that the others were burning all of his scrolls and tombs, and then went on to mock him to bring out his true cowardice. Ultimately, Darth Warlock destroyed the spirit of Andeddu once and for all, ending his terrible shadow, even though he had lived for several millennia. Darth Andeddu's powers were just as legendary as he was. Besides his proficiency with the Force, as well as Force Lightning and telekinesis, he was adept at Sith sorcery and could actually cheat death. Unlike many other Sith Lords before him and after him, Darth Andeddu actually cheated death. He actually managed to survive his own physical demise and live on well after, as well as reign
with
over
Force
an
essence, I'm
entire
not
planet,
surprised.
that being Prakith for generations by this ability. A Sith technique
Knowledge
that
is
Sidious
power.
would later use to great effect as well. Andeddu had stored all of this knowledge and power within his holocron. Should the device come into contact with his corpse, it would sap the life energy from the holder and resurrect the God King. Andeddu did wield a lightsaber in life, storing the crystal within the holocron. The crystal was gifted to the fallen Jedi Master Quinlan Vos after he retrieved the holocron for Dooku. Darth Warlock had mentioned that his power was not from the flesh, but from his mind, able to cast powerful illusory constructs to overwhelm his opponents. So friends, what do you think of this terrible Sith Lord? Let us know in the comments below what other characters you would like to see a video in history on like this. In the meantime, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.
Okay, so my thoughts on Darth Andeddu is that the first thing that comes into mind is how he's big on knowledge and the Force essence and everything like that. He kind of reminds me of another version of Darth Plagueis, because Darth Plagueis, as Palpatine talked about him in Episode 3, like how he managed to influence midichlorians to create life. It's kind of like the same thing in a way. So in a way, the God King sounds like he's like another version of Darth Plagueis. Now, this is just my opinion. And how when he built the cult and everything and he managed to cheat death, but there wasn't really much talk about like lightsaber combat or anything like that. So that's why it looks like he's basically big on like knowledge and force manipulation. And the fact that the holocron was in Count Dooku's possession, and there's a chance that Darth Andeddu could be resurrected if that thing touches the corpse, is very terrifying if he comes back. But this was a really great video, and there's another Sith God King video I have, and I'll get to it when I can. But anyways, that's all I got for today. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. And thank you for tuning in. Shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are all amazing. You guys are the reason why this channel keeps on going. And without anything else, I'll see you guys next time.